It was an ordinary evening on Earth. The sky was clear, the air fresh, and everything seemed peaceful. But no one knew that something unimaginable was about to happen. In a small lab tucked away on the outskirts of a quiet city, a group of scientists was working late. They had been researching signals from deep space for months, hoping to learn something new about the universe. Then, the signal came. At first, they thought it was a mistake. But as they listened closely, it became clear. The message was real. The words appeared on their screens: "Leave them alone, or you will fall like the others." It was a chilling warning. The scientists exchanged confused looks, trying to make sense of the words. Who were they? And why was Earth being warned? The team worked through the night, trying to decode the rest of the message. As the hours passed, it became clear that this was not just some random transmission. The message had come from somewhere deep in the galaxy, from a place they could not even begin to understand. There was something terrifying in the message, something that no one could ignore. The next day, the world began to hear the news. The message spread quickly, causing fear and panic across the planet. Governments tried to downplay it, calling it a hoax, but some people believed it. The message had been sent by someone or something that was watching Earth. And the warning was clear: humanity had done something wrong, and now there would be consequences. The scientists were puzzled. Who were these others the message spoke of? And why had they been watching Earth? As they dug deeper into the transmission, they found something even more terrifying, a hidden part of the message that had been missed before. It was a list of planets that had been destroyed, and next to each name, it read, "The same fate awaits you." It was not just a warning. It was a threat. The scientists tried to contact the authorities, but the governments were still in denial. They thought the message was just a joke or some kind of elaborate prank. But as days went by, strange things began to happen. Satellites began to pick up signals from unknown sources, and objects in space moved in ways that shouldn't have been possible. Then, one night, it happened. A bright light appeared in the sky. At first, people thought it was a comet or some rare astronomical event, but it wasn't. The light grew larger and brighter until it filled the entire sky. Panic spread across the world. People ran to shelters. Some tried to call their loved ones, while others just stared in awe, knowing something terrible was coming. The sky darkened. The light turned into a massive fleet of ships, so enormous they blocked out the stars. The ships were unlike anything humanity had ever seen: sharp, angular, and metallic, with designs that seemed far beyond Earth's capabilities. The ships were a warning, a sign of something much worse. The governments of Earth scrambled to respond. Military forces were put on high alert, and cities prepared for the worst. But no one knew how to fight against something so powerful. The scientists who had decoded the message were now the only ones who understood the true meaning. Earth had been watched for centuries, and now it was too late to turn back. The warning had come from the survivors of fallen galactic empires that had once ruled the stars but were destroyed by their own greed, their own lust for power. Those empires had discovered Earth's potential and feared it. They feared that humanity, with its rapidly advancing technology and aggressive nature, would soon surpass them. And once that happened, there would be nothing left for them but destruction. The transmission had been sent as a final effort to stop Earth from continuing on its current path. But it had failed. Earth had ignored the warning. The invasion had begun. In the days that followed, the fleet hovered over Earth, silently waiting. No one knew when they would strike, but everyone knew the moment was coming. The tension was unbearable. People stopped going to work. Families locked themselves inside. Every day felt like the calm before the storm. And yet, the aliens did nothing. No attacks, no messages. Just silence. The uncertainty made everything worse. Then, one night, a single alien ship landed in the middle of a major city. It was sleek, terrifying, and glowing with a strange, eerie light. It stood there, still and silent, as if waiting for someone to approach. A group of brave soldiers, along with the scientists who had decoded the message, decided to investigate. Armed with little more than hope and the knowledge they had gained, they stepped cautiously toward the ship. The doors slowly opened, revealing an empty space inside. The air was thick with tension. And then, from the darkness, a voice echoed. "You were warned," it said, cold and unforgiving. "And now, you will face the consequences." The team froze. They had no idea what was coming next, but they knew one thing for certain. Earth's future had just changed forever. As the doors to the alien ship closed behind them, the sky outside began to darken again. The ships in the sky began to move. The final battle was about to begin. The world had just begun to settle into a new era of peace. Earth's governments had managed to unite under a common cause, and technology was advancing faster than anyone could have imagined. But beneath the surface of this peace, something was changing. Something dangerous. It started as a strange signal. At first, scientists dismissed it as a glitch, a random pulse from deep space that meant nothing. But when the signal repeated, they began to take notice. It was clear that it was deliberate. Someone, or something, was sending it. But why? Dr. Sarah Collins, one of Earth's leading astrophysicists, was the first to decode the message. It wasn't a language anyone on Earth recognized, but after weeks of intense work, she finally cracked it. The message was simple, but the meaning was chilling. You are not the first. You are not alone. And you will soon face what they did. Sarah's heart raced. She had studied space her whole life, but this was unlike anything she had ever encountered. Who was the they in the message? And what had happened to them? She immediately alerted her team, and together they worked non-stop to find the source of the signal. Days turned into weeks, but the signal kept coming. It wasn't just a warning. It felt like a countdown. And then, without warning, the signal stopped. Earth's leaders were skeptical at first. The message didn't seem important, and they brushed it aside. But then, strange things began to happen. In the dead of night, an enormous shadow appeared in Earth's skies, too large to be a simple asteroid. The shadow wasn't moving like any natural object. It hovered above the planet, still and silent. Panic spread quickly. Satellites were scrambled, military bases were put on high alert, but no one knew what they were dealing with. The shadow just sat there, observing, waiting. Sarah couldn't ignore the growing fear inside her. She knew the message wasn't a random signal anymore. Earth had attracted attention, dangerous attention. She dove into the research again, looking for any clue that could explain what was happening. Then, she stumbled upon something chilling. Ancient records from long-lost civilizations in the galaxy spoke of empires that had once ruled the stars. They were powerful, vast, and feared by all. But these empires had vanished, wiped out by an unknown force, leaving nothing but ruins and stories. The message Sarah decoded, she realized, was connected to these dead empires. The signal wasn't a random warning, it was a legacy from a time long gone, from those who had fallen before. And now, Earth was next. As Sarah shared her findings, it became clear that Earth's rise in technology wasn't something that had gone unnoticed. The galaxies of old had warned their survivors if they could ever rebuild, Earth would be the new target. The they in the message were the fallen empires, and their greatest fear was that humanity would follow the same path they had. And now, it seemed Earth was on the brink of making the same mistakes. The shadow in the sky grew larger each day. It wasn't just one ship, it was a fleet of ships unlike any Earth had ever seen. They were sleek, dark, and foreboding. It was clear that they were not here to make peace. Sarah's team worked tirelessly, trying to uncover anything that could help Earth defend itself. But every piece of information they uncovered only added to the mystery. The old empires had left clues hidden in ancient ruins scattered across the galaxy. But no one had ever fully decoded them. They were lost to time. Just when it seemed like Earth had no chance, a strange visitor appeared. An alien, disheveled and desperate, approached Sarah. He claimed to be one of the last survivors of a destroyed empire. His race had made the same mistakes as humanity, and now his people were gone. He came with a warning of his own Earth had one chance to survive. The alien spoke of the power that had destroyed his people. It was a force of nature, a weapon so powerful that it could erase entire civilizations. And Earth, he said, was now standing at the edge of the same destruction. The fleet in the sky was only the beginning. If humanity didn't change its course, they would fall just like the others. But there was hope. The alien had one final piece of advice. Earth had to stop pursuing the same path of expansion and greed. If they didn't, they would face the same fate as the dead empires. The alien's message didn't sit well with Earth's leaders. Many refused to believe that their progress was anything but a good thing. They refused to stop their missions to other planets, their research into weapons and technologies that could give them control of the stars. But Sarah knew the truth. The dead empires had left their echoes in the galaxy as a warning. Earth could ignore it, but the consequences would be grave. As the fleet in the sky moved closer, the countdown to destruction grew shorter. Earth had one final choice: change their ways or face the same end as the dead empires. Then, in a moment of terrifying clarity, Sarah realized the true horror. The fleet wasn't just coming to destroy Earth. It was coming to destroy everything. If humanity didn't change, they would become the new warning for the next empire that rose. The dead empire's message would live on, and Earth would be their final lesson. The days started like any other. People went about their normal routines, working, studying, living completely unaware that the fate of humanity was about to change forever. No one saw it coming, not even the brightest minds on Earth. It all began with a signal. At first, no one noticed it. It was just another strange blip in the vast silence of space. But the signal didn't stop. It repeated over and over again, until it reached the ears of Dr. Ethan Myers, a renowned scientist working for the Earth Defense Agency. Dr. Myers had spent his life studying space, tracking signals from distant stars, and trying to decode any messages from alien civilizations. But nothing prepared him for this. The signal was different. It wasn't random noise or a passing message. It was clear, intentional. The message that came through was chilling: stop or face extinction. At first, Dr. Myers thought it was a hoax or some sort of joke. But as the message repeated, he realized something more serious was at play. The signal had come from a deep part of the galaxy, far beyond Earth's reach. It wasn't something they could just ignore. Someone, or something, was trying to get Earth's attention. As Dr. Myers worked with his team to decode the rest of the message, strange things began to happen. The skies over major cities grew dark, and strange lights were spotted in the atmosphere. Satellites began to malfunction, and Earth's most powerful telescopes picked up images of massive dark ships moving toward Earth. It wasn't long before the truth became undeniable. The message wasn't a warning, it was a demand. The unknown force behind the message was coming, and they weren't asking for a peaceful negotiation. They were demanding that Earth stop its rapid expansion into space, stop its experiments with dangerous technologies, or face utter destruction. The governments of Earth were in chaos. Leaders from every corner of the planet scrambled to understand what was happening. Some believed the threat was nothing more than a bluff. Others knew it was real, but no one could agree on what to do. The message was clear, but the choice was impossible. As the alien ships grew closer, panic spread. Cities were put on lockdown. Military forces were mobilized. But no one knew how to fight something they couldn't understand. The weapons Earth had developed were powerful, but they were nothing compared to the unknown force heading their way. Dr. Myers and his team worked tirelessly to understand the message further. What did it mean? Who were these beings, and why were they so angry? They discovered something terrifying. The aliens were not just any race. They were survivors of ancient civilizations that had once ruled the galaxy, and they had watched humanity's rise with growing fear. These civilizations had once controlled the stars, but they had fallen destroyed by their own mistakes. They had been too reckless, too driven by their desire for power and control. And now, humanity was following the same path. The message was clear. Earth had a choice: stop its dangerous pursuit of power or face the same end as those that came before. As the days passed, the alien ships arrived in orbit around Earth. The world held its breath. The tension was unbearable. No one knew when the attack would come, but everyone knew it was inevitable. The aliens were not here to negotiate. They had already made their decision. Dr. Meyer's team managed to decode the final part of the message. It was a grim declaration. This is your final warning. You have one chance to change course, or you will be erased from existence. The galaxy will not allow another empire to rise and fall in the same way. The truth hit Dr. Myers like a wave. The aliens had been watching humanity for years. They had seen Earth's rapid technological growth and its reckless steps into space. They feared that Earth would repeat the same mistakes that had led to the fall of so many great civilizations before. Earth had become a threat to the galaxy, and the only way to stop it was to destroy it. With this knowledge, the world's leaders were forced to face the truth. Earth had two choices: back down, abandon its expansion, and accept the limits of its power, or prepare for the extinction of all humankind. But could humanity really stop its quest for dominance? Could it abandon everything it had worked for? As the final decision loomed, a strange thing happened. The alien fleet, which had been hovering above Earth for days, began to move. They were preparing to strike. The countdown had begun. The world held its breath. Was this it? Was this the end? Then, at the very last moment, something unexpected occurred. One ship, a massive vessel, broke away from the fleet and descended to Earth. It landed in a remote desert, and from it a single figure emerged. It was an alien, tall and imposing, but it was different from the others. Its eyes were filled with sorrow, not anger. The alien spoke in a voice that echoed across the world. I come not to destroy, but to warn. Your choices are yours alone. But remember, you are not the first to stand at this crossroads. Many have chosen the wrong path before you. The galaxy watches. Choose wisely. The message was clear. Earth's fate was in its own hands. The alien left the world with one final thought: stop or face extinction. The choice is yours. It started as a dream of reaching the stars, of exploring new worlds, of taking humanity beyond Earth's boundaries. For centuries, Earth had been advancing, reaching heights no one thought possible. Technology grew faster than anyone could track, and new ideas filled every corner of the planet. The future seemed limitless. But no one anticipated the price of this rise. No one saw what was lurking just beyond the horizon. The year was 2050, and humanity had achieved what once seemed impossible: permanent colonies on Mars, a thriving base on the Moon, and technology that could reshape entire planets. Earth's leaders, once cautious of space exploration, now saw it as the only path forward. The race to dominate space had begun, and every nation on Earth was desperate to claim their place in the cosmos. First, everything went as planned. Earth's colonies on Mars thrived. Robots and artificial intelligence helped create new infrastructure, and people began to look toward the stars with hope in their eyes. There was only one problem: the cost of it all. The more Earth expanded, the more resources were drained from the planet, pushing it to the edge of collapse. But no one was looking back. The rise of humanity seemed unstoppable. In the middle of this, a team of scientists discovered something they had never expected. While exploring a distant, uncharted part of the galaxy, they found an ancient structure, massive, dark, and seemingly abandoned. At first, it seemed like nothing more than an odd relic from a forgotten time. But as the team dug deeper into the structure, they uncovered something far more dangerous. In the deepest chamber, hidden within layers of dust and forgotten memories, lay a message. The message was clear, and it sent a chill down their spines. This rise was never meant to happen. Stop now or face the end. They didn't understand the message. Who had left it? And why had they left such a warning? But the discovery was enough to shake the team. They immediately reported their findings to the leaders of Earth, but their warnings went unheard. Earth was moving forward, and no warning was going to stop them. Weeks passed. The colonies continued to expand, and technology advanced. But strange things began to happen. Satellites that had been monitoring distant regions of space began to malfunction. Objects in space moved without explanation, and signals from deep space grew stronger. Earth's scientists were confused. They had never encountered anything like this. It was as if the galaxy itself was responding to Earth's rise. Then came the first attack. A massive, invisible force struck Earth's orbit. It was sudden and without warning. Satellites, communication systems, and even military satellites were knocked offline. The world's leaders were left in the dark, unable to understand what was happening. No enemy ships were seen. No signals were heard. It was as if the universe itself was pushing back against humanity's rise. In the midst of this chaos, Dr. Karen Harper, one of the lead scientists on the Mars colony, discovered something that made her blood run cold. The structures they had found, ancient, hidden ruins, were not relics from a long-lost civilization. They were warnings from a much older empire, one that had once ruled the stars. This empire had faced a rise similar to humanity's, and it had been destroyed, wiped from existence. And now they were being watched. The empire had sent their message long ago, warning others not to repeat their mistakes. They had seen civilizations grow too fast, expanding without limits, consuming everything in their path. And every time, without fail, the empire had destroyed them before they could become a true threat. Dr. Harper's discovery confirmed it. The attack that had disabled Earth's satellites wasn't a random event. It was a message. The universe, it seemed, had no place for a rise that happened too quickly, a rise that threatened the balance of the galaxy. Now, as Earth's government scrambled to restore control, they faced a terrible choice. The message was clear. Stop the expansion. Halt the rise of humanity. But no one was willing to do it. The dream of a spacefaring civilization was too powerful, too important to abandon. And so, the rise continued. Days later, strange ships appeared in the sky. They were enormous, dark, and silent. Unlike anything Earth had ever seen, they hovered in the atmosphere, watching. No one knew where they had come from or who they belonged to, but everyone knew one thing: they were not here to negotiate. Dr. Harper's team worked urgently to decipher any possible way to communicate with these ships. They knew they had no time left. The fate of Earth was hanging in the balance. The aliens, whoever they were, had already made their decision. The rise that should never have happened had already begun, and there was no going back. As the alien ships descended closer to Earth, the air grew thick with tension. The world waited, breathless. What would happen next? Would humanity be destroyed for its recklessness? Or would they find a way to survive? In the final moments, just as Earth's military forces prepared for war, one of the alien ships opened a communications channel. The voice that came through was chilling, cold, and ancient. You have been warned. Your rise should never have happened. This is your final chance. Stop now or face extinction. The world held its breath. Earth had reached the edge of oblivion, and only one question remained: would humanity listen, or would it be destroyed just like the empires before it? The stars had always whispered their secrets, but no one had ever truly listened. For centuries, humanity had looked to the skies with wonder and curiosity, believing that the universe was full of endless possibilities. But deep in the galaxy, hidden among the ruins of long-forgotten worlds, there was a story that no one had dared to hear, a story that could change everything. It all began with a discovery. Dr. Lucas Pierce, a brilliant archaeologist and expert in alien civilizations, was the first to stumble upon it. While exploring an ancient, long-abandoned world on the outer edges of the galaxy, he found something buried deep beneath the surface, an artifact unlike anything ever seen before. It was a stone tablet, covered in strange symbols. Dr. Pierce felt a shiver run down his spine as he gazed at the intricate carvings. The markings seemed to tell a story, but they were not of any civilization Earth had ever encountered. As he carefully examined the tablet, a strange chill filled the air. It wasn't just a relic, it was a warning. When he returned to Earth and shared his findings, few took him seriously. The artifact, they said, could be from any number of long-lost alien empires. But Dr. Pierce knew there was something more to it. There was something about the message that felt urgent, alive even, as though it had been waiting for someone to uncover it. The tablet was more than just an ancient object, it was a curse, and it had been passed down through generations of dead empires. The message, once deciphered, sent a shockwave through the scientific community. It read, "The rise of power will always lead to your fall. The curse of the fallen empires will take you as it has taken all before you." The warning echoed through Dr. Pierce's mind. What did it mean? Who had left this message? And why had it survived the test of time? As days passed, strange events began to unfold. Across the world, small but unsettling occurrences grew in number. Satellites malfunctioned. Communication systems went dark for no reason. Space probes launched to explore distant planets began sending back corrupted data. Something was wrong. Something was watching. Then came the ships .AT first. They were small, unidentified crafts, moving in and out of Earth's orbit, unseen by most but detectable by the most advanced telescopes. But soon, the ships grew in number. They were not human-made. They were not from any known alien civilization, and they were moving closer to Earth. The world panicked. Governments scrambled to understand what was happening. Military forces were put on alert. But no one had any answers. The ships didn't communicate. They simply watched, waiting. Dr. Pierce continued to study the message he had uncovered. The curse of the fallen empires, it was clear now. The ancient civilizations that had once ruled the stars had been destroyed by their own ambition. They had risen too fast, too greedily. And in the end, they had been erased. The curse had followed them. And now, it seemed, the curse had found Earth. The ships grew larger, more imposing, as they neared the planet. They were not here to make peace. They were here to destroy. Every effort to communicate failed. The ships were silent, their intentions unknown. Dr. Pierce felt a growing sense of dread. The artifact had been right. The curse of the fallen empires was real. And now, Earth was the next target. Humanity had reached a point of no return. They had risen too quickly, too recklessly, just like the civilizations before them. The warning had been clear, but they hadn't listened. In the days that followed, the sky above Earth grew darker. The ships descended, forming a massive fleet that hovered in the atmosphere. There was no escape, no chance to fight back. Earth was outmatched. The world was on the brink of destruction. The people of Earth were forced to make a choice. Would they surrender, or would they stand and fight? As the fleet prepared to strike, a transmission finally came through, a single voice, calm and distant. The voice echoed across the planet, sending a shiver through everyone who heard it. You were warned. The curse of the fallen empires is your fate. Your rise has ended. Prepare for extinction. The transmission went silent. It was as though the entire galaxy had held its breath. And in that moment, Earth realized the truth. They were no different from the fallen empires. They had sought power, expansion, and control just like all those who had come before them. And now, the curse had come to claim them. The fleet moved into position, ready to unleash its destructive force. Earth had no defense, no way to fight back. The curse had found its target. But as the first wave of destruction began, something unexpected happened. The ships didn't attack immediately. Instead, they hovered, their massive shadows looming over the cities. It was as if they were waiting for Earth's final decision. Was there still hope for humanity? Was there a way to escape the curse? Dr. Pierce, standing in the ruins of his once thriving research facility, realized something. The message wasn't just a warning, it was a test. A test of humanity's ability to learn from the past. The fallen empires had failed because they had refused to listen, refused to change. But maybe, just maybe, Earth still had a chance. The choice was simple: change or perish. The world held its breath. Would humanity rise above its mistakes? Or would the curse of the fallen empires be their fate?